Hi there, welcome to episode 165 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Kris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. Sometimes when a particular retro game doesn't get any new installments, an indie developer will step up to fill that void. In the case of Sabotage Studios, their game may have seemed like an homage to Ninja Gaiden, but ultimately became something much, much more. Brush up on your butler skills, because tonight we listen to the music of The Messenger. Well, hello, Matt.
Hello, Kris.
I'd ask how you are, but we just talked about that beforehand, and I think it's best that we just move forward with listening to some awesome video game music, right?
I couldn't agree more, because I believe you and I are in the same boat.
We are. We're both similar boats. You know, I'm going to the dentist on Friday, but I don't expect that I have any cracked teeth, so...
Yeah.
So, who knows, right? Who knows what the future will bring. But
let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
Indeed. We will burn that bridge when we get there.
Yes.
So we're talking about The Messenger. I'm very excited for a number of reasons, which we'll get to in a moment, but let's jump in. And Matt...
Yes, sir.
Hit us with some history.
The Messenger was released in August 2018 for PC and Nintendo Switch, and in 2019 for various other platforms. The game started as an 8-bit ninja action-style game in the same vein as Ninja Gaiden, but after a certain amount of time, it expands to be more. There eventually becomes a time-shifting mechanic where you can switch between the past and the present in an instant, which also has the visual and audio effect of changing the game from an 8-bit to a 16-bit game. Also, while it starts off as a stage-oriented game, it eventually opens up into a full-on Metroidvania-style search action game. The game was lauded for its visual style, incredible music, and sense of humor, which is surprisingly witty considering the look and the style of the game.
The music of The Messenger was composed by Rainbow Dragon Eyes. He's a chiptune artist who has a ton of albums under his belt, and has worked with the likes of Mega Ran and Bill Kiley and more. He's also largely responsible for the bulk of the soundtrack for the upcoming game Sea of Stars, a Chrono Trigger-inspired RPG that also features music from Yasunori Mitsuda, which we'll be releasing in just a few weeks. For today, we're going to do something we haven't done since our Super Mario Maker episodes. The Messenger soundtrack is almost entirely comprised of both 8 and 16-bit versions of every song. Both versions are great, so instead of trying to choose which version was the better one to showcase, we're going to listen to them both at the same time!
What?
I used to run a YouTube channel called WaveBack Overplay that was entirely dedicated to playing two different versions of the same song on top of one another to see how they sound. The Messenger was one of the most fun ones I ever did, and well, I thought it could be fun to listen to the songs this way instead of agonizing over which version was the best one to pick. So there we go. That's what we're going to do. This is a great soundtrack, top to bottom. Matt, what is your personal history with The Messenger?
The Messenger has sat on my wish list on Xbox Home for many, many intervals of time. It's a game that I really want to play. The thing that grabbed me the most to start was the music. All those dates back to the WaveBack Awards and stuff. I found the music to be absolutely fantastic.
Right.
But I don't have any actual FaceTime with it. I've watched a handful of videos because obviously everybody was talking about the Messenger. And I wanted to know what was all the big hubbub, and the minute I saw it, and I saw a little playthrough here and there, and the graphics, and I said, "Ooh, okay, I got it, I get it." I fully understand why there's so much, attention to it. So, yep, that's about it.
Well, my personal history was I saw this game when it came out, and I bought it immediately and played the heck out of it and just loved it. It was fantastic, the music being a really big draw, but really the whole time-switching mechanics, everything about it was just like, I couldn't wait to dive into a new Ninja Gaiden-style game. And then when it was as funny as it was, it really caught me off guard. And then it turned into a whole Metroidvania thing, and it was wild. So I've beaten this game twice now. I beat it earlier this year, just as a kind of second playthrough to get myself up to date for Sea of Stars, which is why we're doing this episode now. Obviously, we're recording it pretty far in advance. Sea of Stars is still a ways away, when we're recording the episode, but when it comes out, Sea of Stars will only be a couple of weeks away, and the Messenger acts as a sort of a... Sea of Stars actually acts as a prequel to the Messenger, though it's a completely stylistically different game. It takes place in the same world, and it's related to a couple of areas in the Messenger. I can't wait to find out exactly how deep those connections go, because the lore of the Messenger, as goofy as the game is also just really interesting and super cool. And the demo for Sea of Stars was just knocked my socks off, so I cannot wait. And I thought that it was a really good way to get ourselves all hyped up for the game by listening to the Messenger soundtrack.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So like I said, we're playing the overplay versions of these, as in it's both 8 and 16-bit versions of the songs happening at the same time. This first track is called Hills of Destiny. It is the kind of the first area you visit in the game, which you don't get to see the 16-bit version until way later. But yeah, so this is both versions playing at the same time. The 8-bit version, I believe, is panned to the left, and the 16-bit version is panned to the right. So you can kind of, if you're listening with headphones, you can kind of differentiate between which parts belong to which. But I think they sound really cool mashed together. So it'll be an interesting listening experience for everybody who's listened to the soundtrack before. You've probably never heard the songs like this unless you've traveled to my somewhat defunct YouTube channel. So this is Hills of Destiny. I should probably look up what the alternate version of the song is called, but regardless, here we go. Enjoy. Okay, that was the Hills of Destiny, and I believe, yes, so the Hills of Destiny is the 8-bit version. That is a mashup of Hills of Destiny and Hills of Intent from the Messenger soundtrack. How'd that one grab you?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I think there's the pulse pounding kind of beat to it is great. It's a really great driving piece of music. I feel like games like this, the side-scrolling action game, definitely does well to be paired with music like this. I really when 8-bit and 16-bit music really kind of speaks to me, it really speaks to me. So this one really like, I don't know, it really grabbed me, and I could have listened to about 15-20 minutes of that without batting an eyelash.
Yeah, it makes just the solo 8-bit version made for a really cool intro level song. But once you entered the 16-bit soundtracks, it's very Sega Genesis inspired. So it's got that really deep, like, FM bass sound to it. And while a lot of Genesis music isn't always my bag, the way Rainbow Dragon Eyes used those instruments, I think was masterful. Overall, I like the 8-bit versions of the songs better than the 16-bits, like, more often than not. But really, I find combining the two of them to be a really fascinating listening experience. And I really like that song. It's absolute killer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a very big fan of it. I'm hoping, I doubt it, but I'm hoping the game goes on sale soon because I have a list of games that I want to go on sale, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And every time I go to, your game's on sale, I go and I look with the hopes and it's not. But Messenger is right at the top of that list. So I'm like, but I keep seeing it and I go, and I can't pull the trigger just quite yet, but I will. I promise you I will. By the time the show airs, I will have played the game.
Phenomenal. All right, our next song is called Into the Depths. It is a mashup of Into the Depths and Return to the Depths, and it is an underground area. Go figure.
Hey, how about that?
So let's give it a listen. Here they are mashed together. Enjoy. A little more awesomeness for you. How'd that one make you feel?
A little bit. That was a lot of bit. That was great. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily what I think of when I hear an underground level, but I'm a big fan of being pleasantly surprised. That was great. That was really great. There's just a lot of great composition in this music. I think all too often some people may think of 8-bit and maybe 16 to some extent as being primitive. But obviously this was, recreated at a time where, limitation was just your imagination, I suppose. But nonetheless, I think it comes together all, in a really great fashion. Just great work. I can't imagine I'm going to say like, that one kind of sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is not one of those on this soundtrack. That's as far as I'm concerned.
Right? Yeah. So keep them coming, man. Keep them. I'm loving this. I love this soundtrack.
All right. Well, the next one I think actually is a little bit more in tune with what you would expect from a cave level, which is amusing. This one is called. Wait, I clicked away from my playlist here. Now I'm lost. Where is it? Number 3, Harness the Winds. This is it's a mashup of the songs Harness the Winds and Harnessing the Wind, because all these names are similar to one another, but not exactly the same. And it's a cool song, so let's give it a listen. Enjoy. was Harness the Winds / Harnessing the Wind mashed up together. What a cool flippin' song that is. I love that main melody. I love it's the dynamics of it where, you know, it pulls in and just drum beats so killer. I love that track. How'd that one grab you?
I was headbanging like I was at like a metal show. Like
yes,
that has such a great distinctive beat, pulse, timing. It's the combination of the drums and the main melody, to me, make it a marching, like, we're doing this thing, like, oh, let's go. It's fantastic. I can't. I don't have words. Words. Me no need words. Podcast fine on own. No, it's fantastic. That's just such a great song.
Yeah, absolutely killer one. You're right. It's got such a great driving melody to it. It's impossible not to move while listening to that one. But our next one, you will remember this one because I played this one on our spooky special the year this came out. Was it 2017, 2018? I can't remember. We just talked about it. 2018. So the 2018 spooky special, we played Quill Shroom's Horrors, but we didn't play this cool mashed up version. This is a really awesome haunted spooky woods area with these creepy mushroom creatures. This song rules. This song is out of control.
I haven't heard someone say that in a long time. Something, oh, this rules. That's exactly how I feel about this soundtrack. Like, dude, this soundtrack just rules, man. Like,
it truly, truly does.
That's so funny.
All right, so let's go ahead and listen to the mashup of Quill Shroom's Horrors / the Queendom of Quills. This is a killer song. Enjoy. That was Quill Shroom's.
I swear to God, man.
That song is out of control good.
That last, like, the cut time.
Oh, yes.
Woo.
Yes.
That gets me every time. I hear that, I'm just like, oh, I make that metalhead this is nasty face, like someone just face melted me. I'm like, ooh. It's so good. It's such a good song.
Yeah, it's so intense. It's got that perfect creepy vibe. Like the 16-bit version has that like really weird, eerie, I don't even know what instrument that's supposed to be like, but it's just out of control. It's just, like I have no other words for it.
Maybe like a theremin or something?
Yeah, maybe. it's a little bit more.
Yeah, it's more aggressive.
But it does sound like there is a theremin bit in there, like towards like when it gets crazier and more hectic and stuff. And it just gets more and more manic towards the loop where there's like kind of a theremin going woo up towards the top to just kind of add to that nice spooky nature.
They're just really sharp synthesizers, and it really just works. It works so well.
It does. It does.
A little too well.
Oh, no. Very suspicious. All right, well, this next one is a very harsh turn as far as like stylistically is concerned. I think this is a really, really good song. But it's not a song that just absolutely rocks like everything we've listened to before. This is a more slow-paced song. It's for one of the few areas in the game where you're genuinely safe. It's kind of a hub area. It's called the Time Gauntlet / the Tower of Time, and you can later in the game you can use this area to warp towards different spots. And it's a really, really cool song. I love this song. It's so well done. So this is the Time Gauntlet and the Tower of Time mashed up together. Let's enjoy it. The Time Gauntlet from The Messenger, and I specifically love in the I love the way these two mash up. Like they really combine together in an interesting way. I love the neat kind of like swooshy sound effects that the 8-bit version's doing, but then combined with the really deep, more modern bass of the 16-bit version. I just think they mash up together super well. This is such a interesting song because it's like, it's not super invigorating, but it's not like super restful either. It's just like, all right, where are we going? You know, it's like a very good preparing. It's a very good preparing song. It hints at super cool things to come, and I think it's a wonderful song.
So, what I love really, maybe the most about it is that it comes very much in the realm of synthwave, right? Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, a particular style of music if you're familiar with. If not, you know, you think of maybe like Blade Runner and you know, genre benchmarks like it, right? That's the soundtrack to something like a Blade Runner, right? I love this one because you're absolutely right. Like it's definitely a little more chill, and as you say, and it's an area where you're relatively safe, and you know, so you not only do you want the respite from gaming, where you're like, oh my god, everything's so intense, and you just chill. Like, let the music reflect that too. Oh my god, excuse me. Let the music reflect that too. Mm-hmm. And this definitely does that. You're right. The more modern like kick and bass are just so tight and like not a wasted bit, you know, in the recording. They just sound so tight, and that's, to me, that's what makes for like the pinnacle of what to me that track is. It's great.
It's also
fantastic.
I love the way it transitions into those like just genuinely beautiful bits of the higher notes that kind of come in and sing along with that really kind of sort of driving bass line.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful piece of music. Okay, this next one is it's called Find a Way / Know the Way. I think this is for the a dark forest area that's not the Quillshrooms one, or maybe it's a cave. I can't remember. I just know this song rules, or these songs rule.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. So here is Find a Way / Know the Way from The Messenger. Enjoy. Find a Way from The Messenger. That bass line is disgusting.
I'm so mad it ended. I heard it start to fade out, and I was like, are you serious?
I know.
That's just... There's so much good about that.
Right? It's that bass line.
It starts that bass line, right? The drums just kind of dancing around it. That little, like, Caribbean reggae house dance hall beat, just fantastic. I love that stuff like that appears, in places you don't necessarily expect it, and that's fantastic to me. I love a great surprise, especially on a musical level. That's great. And then that they it's so locked in. It's great. That's great.
Yeah, super awesome song. Killer. Yeah. Amazing. Oh, amazing. All right, next up. Let's keep going. Yeah. To Frozen Light / the Frozen Dark. This is for an ice area. Surprise.
Hey.
It's for an ice area, and the song is really cool.
Oh, man.
It's cooler than I am.
Oh, no.
It's awesome. Here is the Frozen Light from The Messenger, mashed up with the Frozen Dark from The Messenger. Enjoy. So that was the Frozen Light / the Frozen Dark, and I gotta tell you, the beginning of that song, I have some serious PTSD associated with the beginning of that song. There is a chunk of this area that I died in repeatedly. And, you die, you come back, and the beginning of this song kicks up again, and I'm like, this is awesome. And then, after 7,000 or 8,000 deaths, it's like, all right, I get it. The intro to the song is very cool. Let's get this jump done. Because this game is tough. But you do have infinite lives. Its life system is really, really quite special. Because you technically don't have infinite lives. There is a creature called Quarble that saves you the instant you die. Every single time at a cost. So these little gems, he then has to he then steal. Well, he doesn't steal them. He floats around after you die, and all the gems that you get go to him instead of to you. That's his payment, and it either goes for until he hits a certain threshold or until he gets bored.
That's great.
And so you can actually stop him from eating gems by just doing nothing for a few minutes.
Okay.
And eventually he'll just get bored and wander off. That actually, and Quarble, the way he prevents you from dying actually has a pretty big impact on the story later. Mm-hmm. I don't want to spoil it because I swear when this game's story comes together, when you find out what's in the cabinet, which won't make sense to anybody who hasn't played the game, but if you have, you start playing the game, there's going to be a cabinet, and it just...
You're going to want to know what's in it.
You're going to want to know what's in it, and the shopkeeper just says, please don't touch the cabinet. And then eventually you get to open the cabinet, and when you find out what's in there, and the whole situation that ensues afterwards, it blew me away just as much the second time as it did the first. Just, forgetting all the details of it after a couple of years of not playing it, and then get back and be like, this is ridiculous. This is completely insane. I love it. But anyways, let's move on to the next song. It's called Beneath the Tides / Beneath the Surface. I believe this is the song for the Sunken Shrine area in the game. And this song is directly referenced in the music in Sea of Stars demo. It's a really good song. I flippin' love this song. That's all I'm going to say. Let's jump into it. Here's Beneath the Tides mashed up with Beneath the Surface from The Messenger. Turn up the volume and enjoy.
doggy doggy.
There's something, I don't know how to put my finger on it. There's something very distinctly 80s about that song. And I mean that in the best possible way.
It might be the bass synth.
It might be. Just the way it the way it picks up in that middle segment. Like, it's all building up in this really kind of grandiose way. But man, once that beat comes in the middle, that whole part is just like so invigorating and so well done. It's, oh my god, just it kills me every time.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Like, that's the part I was going to talk about. And once it kicks over, like, wow, does it really kick over, man? Like, it takes off. It takes flight. That's such a great piece of music.
Yeah, the build-up is expertly done. It's masterful. Yeah. Freaking love that song. I love that area and the little bits of it that come through that in surprising places in the Sea of Stars demo. We're just like, what does this mean? What does it mean? I want to know. Like, it's connected somehow. It's super important. I want to know, because when you get to when you get to the sunken shrine area in the messenger, you can talk to the shopkeeper in every new area, and they give you like some sort of history. And it's like, yeah, there's not a lot known about this place, but it looks ancient, right? Like, it looks like there's something really big happened here. Yeah, you think? Very excited to learn what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, love this. I love this game. All right, so our next song. We got a couple left. The next song is from the game's DLC. It had Picnic Panic was the DLC for the Messenger. I think it was free, and it's a whole extra area that you can go to that's kind of separate from the main story, but kind of not. And it's all very like tiki beach themed.
Okay.
Just wonderful. There were a couple of great songs to choose from. Just in the interest of continuing this whole mashup overplay thing that we're doing here, I picked one song that's not one of the songs that has both versions in it, because there are actually a couple of areas in this one that you can only visit in one of the two kinds. One of them is this really great song. It's very surf rock, where you're doing like a surfing like action sequence, which is freaking wild. But we're going to be listening to a song called Shoreline Showdown / Tropical Tussle. And it is kind of the main beach area, and it's flipping cool. So enjoy. Okay, that was Shoreline Showdown / Tropical Tussle from the Messenger Picnic Panic DLC. How'd that one grab you?
I love the seagulls.
Yeah.
It's really, really funny. It's a great piece of music, right? It keeps that pacing, that like action video game pacing, and kind of tempo. That's the word. It's tempo. It's another great fun track, and I think it's very much what a game like this needs, you know?
Yeah, it was really fun to have finished this game, and then like a few months later, this new thing comes out, and it's got all this wonderful new music that's of the same exact style. It's like, yay, more! I'm so happy!
Like, it's great to get the game. I love the level, but the music is really why I'm here, you know?
I was really happy to hear more of this game's music. But speaking of which, we got two left, and these are two just, as the kids would say, absolute bangers. Some of my favorites, honestly. The first one we're going to listen to is called The Arcane Shop / The Shopkeeper, and I was devastated that this did not win Best Shop Music the year this came out. And I guess because as it being actual shop music, it doesn't necessarily fit like a glove, but as just being an amazing song that is the soundtrack to so many just unbelievably hilarious stories and moments in this game. If you decide to dive into talking to the shopkeeper as much as you can, which I cannot recommend that enough, everything that you can get out of the shopkeeper is gold. So if you decide to do that, you will hear a lot of this song, and I was never unhappy about it. This is a track that I vastly prefer the 8-bit version, but the 16-bit version I do think adds some really interesting stuff to it, and mashing them together provides quite a unique sound. So here is the Arcane Shop / The Shopkeeper, a flippin' great song. Enjoy. I freaking love that song.
I mean, what's not to love?
Oh my god. The whole time so I said before maybe it doesn't exactly match, but I think that's really I really think that's a big point of the song. Like, it's all, like, I don't want to say it's the gag, but you listen to this super intense music while standing completely still, just reading text. Mm-hmm. It's like there's nothing happening while this ridiculously awesome music is happening besides the shopkeeper telling you a story.
Right.
Which is what what happens, I mean, like, you ask him, so you have any stories to tell? And he just comes up with these, like, weird takes on fables, almost, that have strange messages at the end, and he's really, really smarmy to you about whether or not you get the moral of the story, and, like, God, the dialogue is so ridiculously good in this game, and just thinking about the reactions and the the shopkeeper's completely blank expression while telling you these things and listening to this absolutely insane music is freaking wonderful, man. I love this song. I love the way it picks up. The only problem I have with the 16-bit version is that main, like, overbearing guitarish sound for the bam 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 bam, and like the original, and the 8-bit version doesn't have quite as an abrasive a tone to it. However, once it picks up, those two songs mesh together so wonderfully well, because like the Genesis version is almost the 16-bit version is almost more restrained in like how over the top it sounds, whereas the 8-bit version just seems like it's so much more loudly intense. Where the 16-bit version is like almost like reserved intensity, and the two of them working together, I think, comes up with just a super crazy cool sound. No matter what flavor you listen to, it's an amazing tune. And God, play The Messenger. It's so good. Everybody should play this game. It's so good.
I mean, there you have it. No, this is such a great tune. I like you had mentioned how, you know, you're having these conversations and they're kind of left of center, and then so I'm listening to this track and I'm thinking, well, this is a little left of center. Like, it's kind of a bizarre pick for, you know, what I was just told, but I guess after hearing it all put kind of, and then attempting to kind of put it together in my head, I could kind of see it. Like, I could see it making sense.
It does make a degree of sense. It does. It works so well in context, because you're just like bopping your head along while reading. It's neat. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just neat.
That's all you need to know, I think, personally.
Well, that brings us to our last song. This won our best song of the year in 2018, and it was so incredibly deserving. I think it specifically went to the 16-bit version, A Melody to Break the Curse. But the 8-bit version is also freaking amazing, and the two of these together, this is my favorite mashup in this whole thing. Of the songs that I think worked really well together, this one blew me away the most. This song is incredible. This is one of the most intricately amazing video game songs I've ever heard in my life. It's incredibly invigorating, and the stage it's tied to is inside of this music box, and like the stage itself is moving along on the 2 and the 4. So like every 2 and 4, a chunk of the stage moves really quick. Some like large, like some really big pieces will move, and some small pieces will move. It's not all that impressive taken piece by piece, but when you see it all moving together in concert with the music, because it's lined up perfectly with the music, is really, really impressive. The final stage in this game is just freaking nuts. So this is To Break the Curse / A Melody to Break the Curse from The Messenger. Crank the volume up. This song is amazing. It starts off light, and it builds to just chef kiss. Enjoy. ridiculous.
There's a reason it won. You know what I mean?
God, it's
and if
so
you need
good.
If you need another reason, I don't know, just rewind it and listen to it again. There's nothing to say that we haven't already said.
Yeah, I mean, when we listened to it on the show, we gushed over it for a while because of just how ridiculous this song builds. But man, mashing the two of these things up together just blew my mind of like how they both work together in concert so perfectly. Like, each version of this song is so good on its own, and then sticking them together is just like, I mean, every single one of these, I don't know if mashing them up makes them better or worse. I just think it's a really interesting sound experiment to hear these two versions of the same song playing at the exact same time, to be able to compare and contrast them in real time, one in each ear. This one in particular, though, is just boggles my mind. Like, it is one of the coolest pieces of music I have ever heard. When it just gets towards its absolute climax towards the end there, that the bass line, the melody in the bass line that's just like do 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 do. It's freaking ridiculous. It makes me mad. It's like, how dare you? How dare you write something this cool? I'm trying to concentrate, you know? I'm playing this super hard last stage, and I'm trying to concentrate, and I just stop and be like, God, this music is good. God, I can't concentrate on the game. It's so good. But then you have to, because the music is helping you follow along with what's going to happen in the stage, because all the hazards are happening musically. They're all happening in rhythm. So, like, you have to stop and listen to the music and be like, when am I going to go now? And you just gotta fit in between these things that are opening and closing and these big walls that are chonking back and forth super fast. Oh, God, what a masterpiece. What a masterpiece.
I look forward to playing this, honestly. Not just for soundtrack, obviously. The gameplay has been a huge draw for a lot of people, and it's one of the other things I hear about the game, very frequently. So I'm very excited to play this. I might just suck it up, and when we end the episode, I might just buy it.
It's so good. It's so very good. It's really challenging. It's really challenging, but it's very encouraging. Like, there's a lot of checkpoints. It's very generous with the way it lets you keep going. There are these like hidden things all throughout the game, these like hidden tokens that are very challenging to get. The reward is absolutely not worth it.
Oh, fantastic.
So only get them if you're just like, I wasn't really
completionist.
Yeah, like when I played Celeste, there was no way in hell I was going after every one of the strawberries, because that game is so hard. And like, I loved Celeste, but it was one of those things that I'd look at and be like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, that seems really stressful. I think I'm just going to move on. This game, I'd look at those medallions and be like, I can do that. I can do that. All right, let's give it a go. And then I'd die like 3 or 4 times and be like, I can do this. It's like I can look at it and say, like, I understand what I need to do. It's just a question of execution, and that's the kind of thing that works really well for me. God, I love this game.
That's how I felt about Metroid Dread.
Oh yes, Metroid Dread. Holy cow! There's definitely a lot of that in that game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Just fighting those bosses. Be like, okay, I know what I have to do. I get it. Just like,
I do it?
Can I do it? God, Ravenbeak. Oh, Ravenbeak. Did you finish Dread?
Yeah, absolutely.
God, Ravenbeak. How long did it take you to beat that guy? Because it took me a lot of deaths to beat that guy.
I'm sure it took me a couple of days of sitting down and being like, okay, we're not going to get frustrated. And then instantaneously get frustrated. Like, I'm done. I'm not playing this again. And then tomorrow rolls around. I'm like, I gotta beat this thing.
What was super wild was like playing it a year later, because I played it again earlier this year, and because I wanted to play through all the 2D Metroid games since they all showed up on Switch. And when I got to Ravenbeak again, actually when I went through the whole game, like the muscle memory took almost no time to get back together. I beat Ravenbeak on my first try. It's like, I remember this. And like, it just kept coming back to me. Like, every attack he did, it was like, I remember how to do that. And like earlier bosses in the game, that didn't work. Like, it took me 3 or 4 tries again to do the earlier bosses. It was faster than doing it the first time, but Ravenbeak was so ingrained in my memory because of how many times I had to do that. I was able to take him down with, like, almost no problem at all, because it was like, yeah, I remember how to do this because I did it so much. It was so ingrained in my head.
I believe they call that trauma. And sometimes you pay someone a lot of money to talk about it.
Oh my goodness. All right.
But yeah, The Messenger, man, that was a blast. I mean, I knew going into this soundtrack was just going to be, you know, just start to finish fantastic, and I was not wrong.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing, and I am super glad that we did it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, well, that wraps up The Messenger. Wonderful game. Please go play it. It's on all current generation systems, I believe.
Yes.
Or previous. I don't know if it's on PS5, but it's on PS4 and Xbox One and Switch.
Yep.
And it's wonderful. So yeah, that's our show. Join us next time when it will once again be Matt's pick. Matt, what game are we going to be listening to the sultry tones of?
The sultry tones. I don't know if there's sultry tones, but I'm a big fan of Contra, and I was looking on the list and I saw that Contra was done, so then I said, well, the next logical step is Super C.
Heck yeah.
I'm a fan. Well, we'll talk about it, but
we will.
Next episode will be Super C.
Yes, Super C. I love that game. Okay, all right. Keep it in for the next show. All right, we here at the WaveBack Podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can. We have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff relating to video game music and whatever our next episodes are going to be. Of course, you can always still send us an email at mail@geekade.com, and while you're at it, check out all our social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. WaveBack and other Geekade podcasts are made possible thanks to the Geekade Patreon page. There, patrons can get early access to a monthly podcast topics and recording schedule, as well as early access to most of Geekade's shows, including this one and more. If you've enjoyed our podcasts over the years, follow the link in the description and give it a look. We really appreciate it. Finally, as always, be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. So we are going to leave you with the staff roll /end credits. Doesn't really have a very fancy schmancy name to it, but it's not a mashup. It's just the closing credits, because there's no swapping back and forth in real time during the credits. So yeah, staff roll, end credits from The Messenger. Great song, great game. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next month for Super C. Have a good one.